That's really beautiful. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. So have you ever been around horses at all?
When I was a child, I came across a horse that was like it was a horse that worked the land. And I remember being on the back of this horse without a saddle. And I remember the connection and the feeling. And that was the only time when I was on the horse. And then something happened around this energy with a human that was around. And this is quite mystical for me because I don't know what happened there. Um, but the connection between the horse was really natural and very
Right.
beautiful and very spontaneous.
Right.
And that's
Because two beings were working as one.
mhm,
That horse, when you were on its back as a young girl, accepted you into its frequency, and you accepted it into your frequency, and it shared that bond with you.
mhm.
And that is why human and horse are so connected. They can bond in a way that isn't sexual bonding, it's soul to soul bonding.
Interesting. And then I was on a horse many years after that, and I was very scared. I felt my whole body tense.
Are you sure
Um,
the horse wasn't scared also?
Maybe it's a good point.
Oftentimes, horses don't live in the best of environments, except horses that are regularly ridden for rental and stuff. This is not me
Yeah,
shitting
yeah.
on the industry. It's just the state nature. Horses aren't given the best respect in the world, and unless you have a trainer and a people that really respect them in a different way, because many people see them machines, they break down and get a new one. Well, they're not. They're living beings. Okay,
Mhm.
and
And
oftentimes when you're riding a horse, you don't realize what it's been through.
and what's the cosmic origin of a course being manifested in this suit on this planet? Where are they from another dimension?
No.
Uh,
So the Octurians have a horse-like face, but they're not
mhm.
all horse. Horse was a common skin suit, a four-legged herbivore that's on thousands of worlds. The original horsing clans were from this galaxy, even though it's been
Okay.
duplicated in many other galaxies. So it's native to this galaxy. Though there are
Okay.
other galaxies and other universes that they have traveled to, because horses, they can help develop the fabric of reality of a brand new world. So oftentimes celestial bodies that are forming the beginning of their world will have horsing spirits come in the astral world, craft the astral world, because the horse's hooves can solidify an astral layer with in conjunction with a celestial mind. So they can build the astral world with the helps of horses. And there are other animals
Mm.
that help do that too. So they help grow the foundations of the energetic worlds. And then when it's time to get new beings that live in the world, they become part of the living background of the world. Horses and humans go hand in hand. Even back in Atlantean times, they had horses. And there are people, is Atlantean high technology or low technology? It was both, literally both. If you had
Mm.
computers and spaceships, or you had horses and a sword, but the person with the horse and the sword could do the same thing that the people with the spaceships can. They just accessed power differently.
Mm.
Okay. One could enter the magical realms, which is a form of science, which is also a form of technological understanding. And just because they were living in a low technology frequency doesn't mean they can't kick the shit out of something if they had to.
Mhm.
Okay. And oftentimes horses would transfer over to being, cavalry, bonded with a human being going into war. Okay.
Mm.
Why? Because they're so intertwined in the growth of consciousness itself.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right, darling. Thanks a lot for calling in.
Bye.
All right, Robert, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
Okie doke. Emmanuel Saupe. Signal to unmute.
Manuel, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Sweden.
Sweden. Welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about today?
Myself.
Okay. What about yourself?
I was hoping you could tell me that.
Well, tell me a little about yourself so I can tune in.
I'm 24 years old, and I live with my mother.
I can barely hear you. You have to speak up or come closer to your device.
Let's see. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're a little bit better.
Okay. Yeah.
But you got to
So-
tell me a little bit more about yourself other than you're 24 and you live with your mom.
Well, what more do you want to know?
Do you have a job?
No.
Okay, why not?
Because working in the world hasn't really worked for me.
So working hasn't worked for you?
No.
What has worked for you?
Self-containment and engaging in my inner world and writing poetry.
Have you been listening to me for a while?
No, I came into contact with you through my girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is the first show you've listened to?
Yeah, I've only listened to snippets of your other shows, but this is
So-
the first time that I'm
so-
participating.
Is your girlfriend listening?
Yes.
Hello, girlfriend.
Hi, Andrew. It's Leah.
Hi, Leah.
Hi.
Is he really ready for me?
Oh, he's ready for you.
Okay,
We're just being a little quiet because the house is sleeping.
it's fine. So you know how I work.
Oh, yeah.
I will get to my point with him, but immediately when I spoke with him, he has the voice of depression. Chronic depression, chronic failed to start, chronic devaluation of himself. Do you agree?
I would agree with that in part, yes.
Why in part? Because you've seen the part of him that isn't that.
Correct.
Unfortunately, I'm not looking at him from a lover's point of view. I'm looking at him from a point of view of what he needs to grow in his life.
Yes, please. Thank you.
And what he needs to grow in his life is break out of the shell of rules that he's created that only allow a little bit of happiness for him. Okay? There are plenty of people who don't work at work and they start their own business, but he doesn't have the confidence or the long-term endurance to go ahead and do that because he's never really given himself the challenges of real work.
Not for an extended period of time.
Right. Meaning your courage is limited and your dedication to your courage is limited. And that
Yes.
comes from your childhood.
Mhm.
What was your relationship like with your mother?
It was very strong and intimate up until around age 12. And my parents split up pretty early when I was around 4 years old. My father moved back to Germany when I was 9. And then I decided to move to him, closing in on 13. And in that context, I kind of left my mother behind, and she was very sad about that.
And you took her sadness with you.
Yeah, and it
You
took
got to
the-
let go of her sadness.
Yeah,
Right now, inside your heart is a little box that nothing else can get to. And inside that box is her sadness that is weighing down your whole soul, which is creating this long-term depression. And it's almost like a mourning for the relationship you could have had.
Mhm.
But you couldn't have had a real relationship with your mother beyond what you had, because karmically it had to be this way.
Mhm.
part of your soul's growth is to find a woman who's not like your mother and who won't mother you.
Right.
You find a woman that mothers you, it's going to be a disaster. And Leah, would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I've already made mention of that.
Okay. So how much of a mama's boy is he really in private without knowing it?
Mm. Can you be more specific with that question?
Wanting to be served.
Mm. Mm.
I know
That's
you
me.
don't take it. You don't take it, but it subtly comes out of him, and he's trying to change that in him. Don't get me wrong, but it's the mother does things on an unconscious level for them.
Right.
Okay? It's an expectation. That also goes into his inability to start.
Mm-hmm.
Start any project to success level.
What would you recommend would be a viable solution for this for him?
It all depends on how down the spiritual path he wants to go and do the inner work. Because this inner work is about getting other people's energy out of himself and discovering his light without the other's dirty light inside them. And there have been many people that have deposited dirty light in him over the time.
Yep.
And he has to go through the list of the dirty light people and make a regular spiritual process of purging them out as a prayer system to himself that isn't religious.
Yeah,
now, that's not the only way. Okay, that's not the only way, but that's probably will be the most effective way for him, which will open up so much more of his skill sets. He's got to find a sovereignty within himself and grow through that.
Gotcha. Would you be willing to perhaps indulge him in maybe some of his soul's journey?
Sure. What year were you born?
97.
And where were you born?
In Stockholm.
In Stockholm?
Yeah.
All right. So before you were Emmanuel, you lived another lifetime from 1955 to 1980, mid 1980s. And you were an ambassador from India to China at a time where China was going through the Cultural Revolution and India was going through the letting go of the British society and taking over its own country. So it's fair to say that you were rather wealthy, but you still earned the job. So you were born in Calcutta, and by the time you were 28, 27, you were a diplomat, already in the diplomatic corps. And while you were in China, you saw atrocities there. And that poisoned you on a world government concept. And when that life ended, you were actually killed in a car bomb in that attack, in that life, even though the car bomb was intended for somebody else. And it's why you're so disconnected from the nature of our global reality right now. It still traumatized you. And it's one of the reasons philosophy, poetry, music, artistic natures come to you, because your soul was going to dedicate to that concept. You were going to figure out how to make one of them work this lifetime and stay out of politics, stay out of big business, because it was so poisonous the last lifetime. So I'm going to go further back. I'm going to go 1880 to 1930. Here you're living in the Cook Islands. And the best way to describe it is you were the head of your clan at that particular time, and you decided who, if your sisters were going to get married, who they would get married to, because that was the culture then. There was no freedom for women in those islands then. And it was obviously very much a an exchange of wealth. It was a dowry that was done. But in one situation, you found true love with someone, and you had to marry one of your brothers, younger brothers or cousins, to this woman that you loved. And this caused you to change the society there. You began breaking the clan rules and traditions and began giving people their own choice, even down to the point they could have their own bank accounts. And in this lifetime, too, you were killed. You were bludgeoned to death for breaking of traditions. So any of this connecting to you?
In what regard?
Does it seem familiar? Doing for others and getting punished?
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay. It's a martyr type energy that exists in you. Okay. So as I go even further back, I'm going to go 10,000 years ago. And at this particular point, you're living in roughly the Mexico City area. And you're a shaman, one that explores the different types of hallucinogenic drugs that enter you into the other worlds. And part of one of this journey is you made connections to the star children, and had some very powerful wisdom downloaded into your soul that you brought to other lifetimes throughout the shamanic process between 8,000 and 4,000 years ago. You kept traditions alive as a soul. Now, this also comes to you. There are spiritual traditions in you that are just waiting to be remembered through the haze of DNA memories. And what it's going to take is courage, commitment, and discipline to clear your field of the traumas of today and yesteryear and begin to open yourself up to a shamanic passage. Now, those other lifetimes that I described, you were trying to do good, but you were punished for it. This lifetime, you have crafted a life that you can still do good and not get punished by it. But unfortunately, you had a mother and father that didn't give you all the tools to grow up properly. And part of that not growing up properly means you got to do it yourself. And you got to do it in such a way that it is your creation and no one else's. What did you think of that, Leah?
That hit home for me very well. And I can see why you expressed each of those lifetimes to him and the purpose of that, for sure. Thank you.
He's got a martyr energy in him, and it's a subtle path that takes over.
Yep.
And it stops him from doing. Leah, in your view, what is his greatest gift to the world?
He's a revolutionary that operates through the heart, that has the capacity through his mental genius to connect the mind and the heart in such a way through beautiful expression and creativity. He's a very, very powerful being.
I agree.
I
agree. That's why I chose these lifetimes. That he's got it built into him to be powerful, but he's afraid of his own power.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you teach him to hold power?
Through love.
Well, love isn't enough right now.
Okay, I'll crack the whip.
No. He's got to crack the whip.
I know.
And then you crack the whip when he doesn't hold himself accountable.
Bingo.
Okay? It's literally self-starting for him. You can't mother him.
I don't.
Literally. No, you don't, but there are other times that it happens.
What do you mean?
So let's say you're sitting and she gets up to get a drink and you say, "Oh, can you get me a drink too?" Okay. And then she gets you a drink. And then a few hours later, she goes to refill the drink and she gets it for you instead of you going, "Hey, let me get up and do that. Get you your drink and refill it." You see that, Leah?
I do, but
you have a relationship that's growing through it, but it's still a subtle pattern where he has to recognize how to put back in. It's because he devalued his love for so much. And yes, it's just a drink during a movie night, and you're glad to do it and it makes you happy, but he's also got to do it for himself. So he has the pleasure of making you happy too, without the manipulative intention behind it. Not that he's a manipulator, he isn't. It's a passive process.
Right, I understand.
Which in the long run stops him from accelerating his genius and making projects that can go beyond his little local reality.
Can you share with us a little bit about our connection? He's the one I dreamed about back when I was 19, isn't he?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is he what you dreamed?
Yes.
Everything?
Well, the dream was very specific onto several factors.
Yes.
Right.
But it wasn't exactly is what I'm trying to say.
Spirit wasn't showing me exacts. There needed to be.
Right, because there's still growth within him and you to make it that next level of spiritual attraction that has the capacity and super capacity to grow leaps and bounds.
Right. Yeah, I see the potential for that indefinitely.
Yeah, and it's why you're with them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, not to mention the love that's there. And part of their journey is going to be intimacy training with himself, intimacy training with you, getting him out of the shell, and him self-starting projects. Let's say you guys brainstorm one night and you're going to plan the next week. Monday, you're going to do poetry. Tuesday, you're going to do this. Wednesday, you're going to do this. All short little projects that can be finished in a day. And at the end of the week, he's done 5 projects that have 5 successes behind them. Okay? Then give him a couple days off and try again. And then you make the projects a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger, which conclude to going out to open mic nights, bringing your poetry, presenting it, so on and so forth. The world's got to see you. You can't be a hermit anymore.
Right. I'm actually about to start writing my book finally. And you know my editor, so
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
And there you are.
Yeah.
So, Manuel, what's your book? What are you going to write?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Okay.
Um,
Reach into your brain.
you want a title?
Sure. Give it a name, give it a title, give it an idea, philosophy. What's your gift to the world?
Living in integrity.
Okay. Are you living in integrity right now? You've not had anyone challenge you like this ever, have you?
I wouldn't say never.
Okay, very infrequently.
Yeah.
What I'm doing is just reflecting things that are hidden away in your own self.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even allowing yourself to see some of these reflections, nor are you allowing yourself to acknowledge that the genius that you have within, even though it's externally acknowledged by Leah. I agree you're a genius, but you're not using your genius to your fullest advantage. And you lack some of the integrity to hold your power and use it. Not that you do bad things, you just have not had the experience of holding your power for long periods of time and the responsibility that comes with it, so that we don't retract back and become younger instead of getting older and learning from our journey.
His wheels are turning.
Yeah, I know. I can see him.
Oh yeah, I know.
I put a little oil on that squeaky wheel. Don't worry.
Thanks, Andrew.
So how hard was it to get him to call in?
There was a little bit of resistance, but then he was excited. He was excited today and last night.
Did he think he was going to get picked?
Yes, we knew.
Ah, you knew.
Well, I have a few searing abilities myself, so
Yes. You
Yeah.
you have a way to tip the wheel of collars.
okay, I do. I actually just confessed that to him. I bumped somebody off accidentally the last time.
Mm-hmm. You're like elbowed him out of the way.
I did, Andrew. Sorry, guys. Was there anything else that's coming in for you to share? That maybe we're
Intimacy
not-
training, and get him to stop being an introvert, and he's got to become an extrovert. He can't, as I said to the other caller, there's no more hiring of cat ladies or cat men. They're actually cutting those jobs as a spiritual process. Cats are saying no, dogs are saying no. You got to get out there and live.
Well, I'm good for that.
I know you are.
Thank you. Is there any advice you can give us as far as, we're struggling financially right now, and I know that
You got to get a job. He needs money, and he needs to get over his I can't work. That's all depressive bullshit. You can work, you can wash dishes. If not, it's a vanity issue. And you got to confront those things in you. Okay. Learning to hold a job for a year straight is important, because not only it gives you money in your pocket, it helps you have more fun in life. And if you allow your finances to dictate your emotions, you're never going to go anywhere.
What am I to do right now about that? I really can't work here.
You can work internationally. You just haven't figured out how to do it yet.
Correct. That's my next step, is to facilitate online.
Well, what's stopping you?
I'm not sure, actually. I think just coming up with an offering and then marketing.
It's more than that.
Well, can you indulge me?
You're in love. And it's not a bad thing. You're in love. You may want to start a family. There's all these things that are going around in your background. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And right now, being in a stable position, yeah, it may not be everything you want, but you got love.
Exactly.
Okay? You just have to, both of you got to figure out how to make it work. You also got to fix your visa if you're going to stay there, or you got to get his visa fixed so you can go somewhere too.
I want to stay on this side of the pond. I'm better over here.
Okay, then get your visa organized so you can get work there.
Yeah.
And again, he doesn't need a stressful job. He doesn't need to go into corporate world. He just needs to get something that earns cash, grows confidence.
There's an entitlement thing there too, because he knows.
Yes, and that's back to his mom and dad. Mm-hmm. Okay. And if you go back and listen to the sessions, it's the same thing I said in the very beginning. There's an energy there that's stopping him from growing. That's that whole energy that I was telling about the cup of water. It's the mothering energy. All right, guys, I got to let you go and move on to the next caller.
Thank you, Andrew. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again. You guys take it easy and good luck.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Peace, Andrew.
Yep, take it easy, Emmanuel. Good calling. All right, Robert, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
All righty, we got a new person to the room tonight. Galicia, signal to unmute.
Galicia, first-time caller. Are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Where are you calling from?
I'm in Las Vegas by Red Rock Canyon, Summerlin area.
Red Rock Canyon. Welcome to the show, first-time caller. What do you want to talk about today?
Funny, I knew I was getting called next too. And it's really
another
interesting.
Another person with that can manipulate the wheel of callers.
Yeah, I was just doing some things with my hands, but not really thinking that I was doing anything about trying to be called next, but maybe that did something. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting how I saw the email today, which I've been getting for years because I've been following you forever since you started with Lance White and the Galactic History. And it's been an interesting journey because through the years, when I first listened to you, it was just, I remember I had a flu and I had a fever And because I was sick, I literally just binge watched the entire Galactic History. And I was getting the downloads on a level that I couldn't comprehend, but I knew it was true. And then,
Feverish.
and then it was interesting because I would listen to everybody and I would, do all the silver, salt, sage. Like, it really helped me with all the, like practical things and magical things. My boyfriend started hating you at the time because I would just listen all the time to Andrew. It's like 6 years ago. He's like, "Are you listening to Andrew Bartzis again?" I'm like, "Yes." And we had crystals in the bed and like, tied seeds and everything. So
there are a lot of boyfriends that have hated me until they have the girl that calls in and it's all about a sex call for the girl. And then they love me, and then back to hating me when they roll over and a crystal goes up their butt.
Yeah. No, I understand because I'm kind of one of those people that I really hyper focus on something. And then all of a sudden I couldn't listen to you anymore. I was done for a while. I was like, Andrew, and especially, it's probably triggering some of my own things that I didn't want to face or different things like that. And then my empathic side being like, oh, he's being mean to this person. He shouldn't say it that way, So then I but that was normal. I had to go through my spiritual evolution. And then what was interesting, about a month ago, and I hadn't been sick for a really, really long time. And I don't know if I caught COVID, but I caught something. I had a fever and everything. And somehow I ended up I haven't listened to you on a regular kind of thing for about probably a year and a half at least, maybe 2. And now for the last month and a half or so, since I had that fever, and I realized it after, I'm back into listening and just the levels of downloads, because now I download information too. And just, listening to the levels and layers and timelines and paradoxes and all of it. It's interesting that it just, when you come back to information, every single time there's that new layer. And I understand also the future layers that you're speaking in, because I feel like I could already see myself and others in the future grasping things that it's not just about the caller in the moment and making it really clear. It's about everybody listening and, and everybody in the future who's going to hear those layers, and that history is going to come more and more together for us. So, yeah.
You were talking before about he's being mean to this person. There was a point in the journey where Spirit came to me and said, you're going to be getting a long period of time of some very depressive people calling in, and you're going to have to develop a stern, tough, patient love. Yeah. And if I don't, I won't be able to survive through the onslaught of depression that's going to be coming. And there were the only way to break through with them was tough love. And in many of those tough love shows, I did break through, but the ones that I couldn't generally turned toxic as a viewer. Yeah. Okay? Not that you turned toxic, but you had to turn it off because the tough love energy itself as a frequency wasn't matching for you. But you needed it still. Yeah. Yeah. You needed to hear it and reject it to come back to it later at another time to realize there are cycles in absolutely everything. And the next cycle that we're going through is going to have even more depressed people as the polarization of politics takes over and radicalizes both the left, the right, and the center. And that's why I kept the show going on 10 plus years. Yeah. I know what each individual caller can do. Right. And then all the other stuff that we put out. Yeah, it's amazing to me because for me, I would say probably 2 years I'm getting, where I recognize like I'm getting streams of information and I know what that feeling is, but I feel like I'm still kind of when I do my music and I sit down and I do all of that, that's like my space that I create where things, my sacred space, and that's when the communication happens. But besides that, like how you always say, you're in the middle of taking your crap and all of a sudden, so you have to set the times and things for information. My downloads and things, they just get they get triggered by, you'll say something or somebody else will say something. And all of a sudden I'll just have this knowing or a stream of information or about myself or history or something super random. But I think it's really cool. Like when you start developing that kind of, endurance that I can't tell you if like at 4:00 tomorrow, I could sit down and run a show. It just all of a sudden happens to me. And there are certain hours, like in the evening times, I'm more turned on and, receiving a lot of stuff.
And it's really cool. I definitely struggle with, depression, anxiety, all that kind of stuff too, but I think all of us do to some extent that are sensitive.
Yeah. What is your ancestral background?
Like on Earth?
Yeah. Mother and father, where they come from, mother, grandfather,
Poland.
grandmother.
Poland.
Everything Poland?
Yes, Ukraine. Eventually my grandparents came from Ukraine, but yeah, it goes Poland. My mom's lineage, my mom's maiden name was Dorota Paribek. Sokolski for my father's side. I know we're a really old.
Yeah, it's really old. It's really old, really, really old. But there's also a lot of Tartarian in you too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now we're going to be going 3,000 to 4,000 years back before the Tartarian blended with many of the other society, and it's why you're so activated right now.
Mm-hmm.
So there are certain places on this world that are just powerful energy places. Oftentimes, temples are built on them, churches, etc. You happen to be living in an area that has not been tapped, where they haven't gotten the really big power points and put shit on them. And it's beginning to activate you more and more and more and more. And it would behoove you to learn geomancy, which is starting with dowsing rods and following the energy patterns, getting an actual map of your local area and start hiking some of the woods, the terrain, and beginning to follow the energy patterns and find where the high energy places are and make offerings to them.
Yeah, my head just started vibrating on the right side, which usually it does on the back of the left. So there's interesting confirmation there. And it actually came to me that because I've been doing so much light language and singing, chanting, gongs, drums, all rapping, which I never thought I could rap, but I do freestyle rap with all this information coming through. And it's so fun. I love it. Get out all the frustrations and bitch about the system also. And, but I was thinking to bring the gongs or bring, bells and things and go to the different, hikes and locations here. I do feel like there's a reason why I ended up in this area. And it's an interesting area because it's on a flash flood area on top of this hill, and then Red Rock Canyon, 5 minutes,
Yeah. So it'd also be a good idea for you to learn the flute. Instead of bringing drums and gongs, which are a pain in the ass to haul on long hikes. Okay. A flute.
Okay.
And other musical instruments that are very light to carry. It would give you more opportunity, even harmonica, okay, to create a musical connection with the place that you want to work with. Okay.
Yeah, maybe something with because I've never used an instrument with blowing. My dad played the harmonica because he's the musician in the family too. And I've been I picked up the drum, and it's funny too because ever since I started, I know moving my hands, and now I understand what you do when you do your healing work with your hands. I could feel it while you're doing it, and my hands, like for instance, if I try to freestyle, if I don't move my hands, it's way harder. As soon as I pick up my hands and start doing things with my fingers, typing in the air, all this kind of stuff, it just flows. And I think that activated the drumming ability for me too, djembe drumming. Because I've played the djembe a little here and there in the past, but I picked it up and all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, I can play this pretty well.
Yeah. So. That's your epigenetic and genetic memory coming through. And the same will happen with other musical instruments when you are in a alone natural environment, meaning you're hiking on by yourself. That doesn't mean always alone, because when you have another person with you, you can entertain them, which can create a very powerful connective frequency because the music is a storyteller.
Yeah, I really resonated with the 7 sisters, like connecting back through music. And one of the poems that because sometimes I'll put on more like different classical music and I'll just channel poetry or, from my higher self or whatever. But I kept saying, I'm not leaving without my music. That's my intention. I'm choosing. I'm not leaving without my music. And then when you were speaking of like, us being here kind of split up as the 7 sister energy and finding each other through the sound and through the music, I felt like that connected.
Because it did.
Yeah.
Now, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah, I think it's
You
all.
need to
I mean,
make.
I
I'll
am.
just say this: you need to create a title track song saying the seven sisters, the seven grandmothers, the seven this, the seven that, and make a song.
Yeah, I have.
Song that says,
My stuff is really shadow banned, but I'm recording and sharing. It's
yeah,
not like
but you're not
super
you're not performing. Just
on a
because it's
stage or
recorded
something.
doesn't mean you're gonna be listened to it. You got to perform it. Live performance is still vital to make the journey.
Mm-hmm.
You are a frequency specific person. Just because you've created the material doesn't mean everyone's going to listen. They need your frequency presenting it live.
Mm-hmm.
It starts the groundswell of people around you that spread the
Yeah,
word.
maybe you could go into some of those blocks because there's definitely, trust, and I became a hermit type of person as well. But I also
No,
feel like that was part of.
you chose to become a hermit and
Okay.
chose to shut down social skills because you were overwhelmed with the social energies.
Yeah.
Even though you want to be a part of those social energies, and which drove you to music thinking you're going to make music and people will see you everywhere, but juxtapose, you really don't like people at times because you become a hermit. And as I said, cat ladies, there's no jobs for cat ladies on this world anymore. All the
I've got
cat
3
ladies
dogs and a mockingbird.
the cat ladies are getting pink slipped around the world. So you've got to stop the introvert bullshit and become an extrovert. Put a band together.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's I feel like it's coming because I do feel like you said, there's part of me that shows that time of isolation, and that's when I started hearing my own self, and everything just continued progressing. But yeah, it's coming to a point where the next phase is coming, and maybe that will be getting, more out in public. And
no, it's out in public, not getting more. It's out in public without a but, if, and, or anything. If any part of you is going to remain the hermit, you won't launch. You won't be successful at it. It has to be a full transference from introvert to extrovert. You have to retire the introvert in you.
Okay. May I ask also, so my mother and I, we have a very, interesting and deep and special relationship and journey and everything. I feel like she's, kind of a twin flame energy. But what's coming up recently right now that I feel like I'm healing and processing, when I was an early child, I know that I didn't like my mother. Like the imprints weren't the relationship we have now. It's very separate from the traumas and things that I probably picked up from my mother and father as a little child. And is there anything that you see in that, like my early programming from my parents, like something that I should do some healing around, or something you could speak on about my mom that maybe would be useful for her at this time? She changed her name to Seven, by the way, years ago, which is kind of funny.
All right, so you know how I work, so I just have to stop beating around the bush. Part of your mom is fake, and she knows it. Okay, she just hasn't been allowed to be her true self her whole life. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I know what layer you're speaking on. Yeah.
Okay, and that suppression of not her true self coming through is her biggest flaw in life. And it should be the main thing that she works on. But if she overworks on it, she'll never get it done. It's one of those things you got to see as a part-time job. Be learning to be her, not the imitations of others. Or not imitating herself, actually authentically being herself.
I know
saying
exactly
what's
what
truly on her mind, and then following through with some of her own ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, what kind of job does she do?
She's a esthetician. She moved out here now, when COVID hit, and she moved her business but she's doing healing work too, shamanic, and she's having a lot of her own stuff going on. She's a powerful healer. I know that with her hands and everything, but
she's
so she's incorporating.
She's still limited with her abilities. Like if she truly finds her authentic inner voice and begins to let go of the pretend personalities that allowed her to be successful through her life, she will be more financially successful than she has been in the last 50 lifetimes.
Mhm.
But it was a mission given to her to beat this.
Yeah.
Because so many other lifetimes, it was even worse for her. The person that she turned out was a copy of mother or father, and she was never able to be herself at all. There's been a handful of times in there she could be herself, but she didn't have the will to make it last.
Yeah, I think I'm helping her with that. Not that I don't have my own stuff, but the inner child and the joy part is what I feel like to connect.
The fact that you can still love her at an unconditional level with the type of childhood you had is the victory. Okay? You don't hate each other. It could have easily gone that way.
Yeah, she's like, it's funny because that's what I'm saying, and that's been coming up, like, because now me becoming, and I got emotional now, me becoming, more tapped in, I'm like, wait, like, as that child, it's a confusing energy, because there was a time, and it's actually when she changed, I said to her, I hate you. I hate you. And I looked her in the eyes, and I was little. This is, 6, 7 years old. Mm-hmm. And it was because of the fighting with my, father. Like, I understand from my mature mind why she was in that. I don't judge her for it. But I
gotta add something. Mm-hmm. That 6-year-old mind did not understand what was going on between two adults who were about to separate.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's a lot more to that story that turned your mom, dark side's the wrong word, to the twilight, to tap into some of that rage and anger and give it to her man who deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are still things you don't know about that relationship, and she's never going to tell you. Even if she's listening right now, she's too chicken.
She's not, but she will.
She will. You're too chicken to tell the truth. She's old enough now to know. Okay. Let her have the context, because it'll give you a different reason of why she was like that and why you had to say, I hate you. Who the fuck are you? You're not my mom. I nipple fed off of you. Who the fuck is this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But that's your soul needed that shock as part of a grander lesson of what it will take for you to stay as an unconditional loving being and not a forever conditional loving being.
Yeah, that's deep. Yeah.
Okay. And the same lesson is for her, for you. She could have hated you from that point forward too.
Yeah, I listened to Ivan Teller. He's a channeler, and he brought through some things where he said that my mom and I in past lives, like, she was envious of my abilities, and there was some stuff that happened with that where things didn't go well, which I know she has the same abilities, further we go to the past, but yeah, and it's hard to imagine that, because it's like already in this world you feel so lonely and isolated, and you want to have that, but there are the aspects that, I love her unconditionally, and I'm really happy that I feel like we succeeded in that way, where exactly we don't hate each other. And I think the same for my grandma and my mother, their relationship, they actually were able to, even though there was a lot of, there was still love there.
Right. Still love there.
Yeah.
Further growth between you and your mother is going to be going into spiritual business together.
Yeah.
Okay. How that looks will be your brainstorming between the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you are in pretty much the best place to go into spiritual business right now.
I didn't think of it that way. I was going to ask, like, if I should get the hell out of here or not, but it's interesting that you.
Why not get your start there and go somewhere else instead of having to start over completely everywhere, somewhere new?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think everybody on the planet right now is like, what do I do? Where do I go? But maybe it's not, it's bigger than the location right now. What's happening? Yeah,
exactly. It's bigger than the location right now.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get some hustle muscle under your belt. Okay. And you got to be able to turn the visions that you have into stuff clients can use.
Okay. Awesome. I don't know if I'm taking too much time and you need to get on.
No, you're good. We got a couple more minutes.
Okay.
Anything else you want to ask?
How about So since we went on to the family and stuff, birth trauma, and right now there's been some misalignment with my neck. Like I seem to hold my head in a position that is, and I hear you talk about, the sacral cranial therapy and things. And both me and my mom, we share this. I know too, I've had a lot of traumas to the throat and what you said, talk your head off. And I was like, I think I'm doing that. So that's good. I'm healing it. But if you could look at my, when I was birthed, I was born through a vacuum. They attached a suction thing to my head and
Yeah, it was
sucked
the
me out 'cause I
replacement. It was
so big.
replaced. It was a replacement to forceps birth.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as bad. The head went back to normal. The forceps birth didn't. Actually, what's more important here than the birth trauma,
Mm-hmm.
because believe it or not, the birth trauma, you were over it by the time you were 3 or 4.
Cool.
But what you're not over, this is the
Mhm.
most important thing, is the infinite access you had in the womb.
Mm.
You're frustrated. Why don't I have access to the infinite energy?
Yes.
And thus the journey back to the fetus in the womb for you, where all that grandmother's wisdom is waiting for you. And you should have children this lifetime. I will say that. It doesn't mean you have to, but you should. Because it is going to make you an even more potent and powerful psychic, having that as an experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been, because I'm 36 now. And
Yeah, you
I
got a
feel like
limited amount of time.
if I didn't have my creativity, which is, then I feel like I would go into a depression. And bringing children, just with everything going on, like there's 2 parts of me that I feel like, why would I want to bring, there's so many already kids on this world, but then I understand that part too. And I have heard in the past that 2 kids or something, but yeah, there's a little bit of a battle with that. And I feel like I can't stress about it. So I just feel like I have to surrender to, like, if it's meant to happen in this life, it will. If not, then
you got to make it happen. It's not just going to be rolling a hay and you're pregnant. And if so, that will shock the shit out of you. Okay?
Immaculate conception.
Okay, exactly.
I do
or
a rap song and I'm pregnant.
One night stand conception, even worse.
Mm-hmm. But when you say the trauma of not connecting to the, it's that feeling of, if I'm understanding this correctly, when you have that connection, I feel my whole life, like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Why don't I have the energy? I have this heart, like desire, but you don't have the motivation, or you don't have the life force energy to do it, or
because you have to make it in this lifetime. It's not available, all instantly available to you as the infinite fetus in the womb to create.
Mm-hmm.
And our journey back to that is refamiliarizing ourselves with the fetus in the womb and the creative power and how it can affect this lifetime in linear time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a download about the placenta also, and like that there's something while the mother is pregnant with the child, there's an exchange of information, that there's an expansion that happens. Like it shouldn't be the way that the mother is almost in this life, in this 3D reality. It's almost like the mother gives her life force and becomes weaker after she gets pregnant. But if done properly, if we were in a different understanding, the mother's energy
there are
would
doulas,
be amplified.
there are doulas and birthing coaches, conscious birthing coaches, that can get you to the orgasmic birth stage. People around the world do it. It's very common.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have that birth this lifetime.
Yeah, I'm afraid of birthing. I feel like I've been used in different readings.
Now we're getting, I'm afraid of birthing.
Yeah, I'm afraid of physical pain in general.
Okay, you're chicken shit. It's okay. So am I.
Not chicken shit. Come on, if we've had our heads chopped off in past lives and that's in our DNA memory, we've earned our chicken shit.
All the moms in the show that have had 5 kids, you're worried about one. Wait till you see what 5 kids does to your varicose veins.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Plenty of moms out there fucking afraid of one birth, dummy.
When you were talking about, I don't know why this popped into my head, about the horses and like weaving their hair and stuff, it came to me too the other day that I didn't think about before. Generally, like braiding of hair, weaving of hair, it's powerful because of our fingertips also touching the hair. So there's that thing that like and then I would say be careful who does your hair also and who touches your hair. because it's almost like
Yes.
a really powerful exchange of information. But yeah,
When
weaving
you-
the horse's hair is very like grounding.
People who are regular horse groomers are some of the most potent psychics, untapped potent psychics I've ever met in my life. I'll say that.
Yeah,
They're
I always
professional
felt
groomers. And professional pet groomers too. The most advanced psychics I have ever seen.
I have that thing where horses, I love horses. And when I was living in Poland, I would ride them when I was a little kid. I had some connections with horses, but they wouldn't listen to me because I couldn't be as stern sometimes. But I also, the empathic part, I feel like there's so much sadness in the horses. And, it's probably my own projection too, but I feel them. And I just I almost want to cry when I get on a horse. Like, I'm sorry.
So there are sad
Yeah.
horses out there. You just have to meet a happy horse.
Oh yeah, I have. I had a healing happy horse in Poland where we actually went swimming with the horse in the water, and we'd ride it without a saddle with like 2 other kids. It was literally like paradise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So you can achieve it again. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I love animals.
Find a stable for you to go at, just like the other
Mhm.
caller. Volunteer. I always need help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, darling. I got to let you go and move on to the next caller. Thank you for
I'll try
calling
to
in.
call
You were a fun
back
caller.
again. This was really random, spontaneous, and really cool. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, Robert. Let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
Great call. Joey, message to unmute. Joey.
Joey, are you there? Or Jilly? Hello? Are you there? Joey? Going once, Joey. Going
I
twice.
can't find the mute. Thank you. Hi,
There
how
you
are
go.
Andrew?
How you doing, Joey? Where are you calling from?
Sacramento, California.
Sacramento, California. Welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about?
Wow, what don't I want to talk about? I just want to start by saying thank you. I've been listening for a while now, and man, so much has got me through a lot. And thank you.
You're welcome.
But,
how have we helped? What's the best thing we've done to help you?
wow, I think the first revocation I did, it was crazy. It was just it was like ecstatic. I was like tears just rolling down my face, but I had like the ear to ear grin. It was kind of ridiculous.
What revocation was it?
What was it about? It was just about getting stuff away from me, getting stuff out of my life, trying to move on past stuff and getting away from people. I went through a lot last year. My girlfriend and mom passed away like a week away from each other, and I got some mixed reviews about that. And I don't know. I feel like I could have been lied to about my girlfriend passing away by her sisters. I'm still kind of on the fence about that one.
What did she pass away from?
She went sepsis from a tooth abscess. Wouldn't go to the hospital. I was actually took her to the hospital that day. Tried to make her go in. She wouldn't go in. And we like had it out. Last thing I was doing was yelling at her, telling her she was making me watch her die. Me and our dog. And then a friend ended up getting her to go to the hospital, and she was there. And I was talking to her sister, and her sister said she was doing better. They wouldn't let me see her. It was the COVID stuff or whatever. Then they wouldn't give me the code so I could talk to her, And then I tried to go see her like the next day. I went down there or whatever, and they wouldn't let me see her again. And they said that she was discharged, but then I got 2 answering machine calls saying that she had passed away. And I was like, what does that mean? Does discharge means like pass away? I don't understand. No, they wouldn't give me a straight answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was ridiculous. And I feel like maybe your sisters could have lied to me because I never got closure.
No, that was the hospital karma stopping anyone from coming in.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, during COVID, a lot of people died alone and family members weren't allowed in. Yeah. And some of that truth is going to come out as the nurses start to become whistleblowers and write books about the truth of what really happened during COVID.
Well,
okay?
I was looking for her death certificate, right? And I found her phone number and address in I was looking in January this year, and I found her phone number and address. It was updated in November, like 9 months after she had supposedly passed away. And I went to this is the first thing that happened. I went and I sat down and I tried to like see where she was. Like I went to Google Earth and I saw the place. So then I visualized going there, whatever, and I sat down. And I think it's the first time I actually remote viewed, because I next thing I know, I saw the living room from where it was, and it looked like to me like it was the inside of the house from the top view that I was seeing. It came up crystal clear, only for a split second, which I thought was kind of weird. And I don't know. And then the next time I remote viewed was I was doing the sun gazing, like like you talk about, and it was in the morning time. I was doing that, and then I started seeing these colors, like it went from purple to blue to red to orange, yellow. It was like 5 or 6 seconds of each one. And then I saw this girl come into view, and she was sitting in the back seat of a car, and she saw me. It's like we both did a double take on each other, like, are we really seeing each other? That was kind of weird, but that was one of the things that made me like kind of think it was real. And then she was like, said something to somebody there. I think a driver, I could see like the back seat of the car that she was in, and they started to pull out, and then she looked back at me again, and then like as soon as she left, another girl came into focus. Like less than 2 seconds later, I saw a girl standing there right in front of me, and she looked at me like, why are you standing in front of me? Like it was the same type of thing. We both did a double take on each other, like we really seeing each other like this. And that was it. The thing was about like probably 45 seconds between the whole and every time I see something like that, it starts off seeing those colors like that. Does that sound like
It sounds like you're viewing other timelines.
Really?
Time vision sight.
Okay.
Now, let me ask you a tough question. Do you think she's actually dead, your girlfriend?
Man, see, that's a whole other thing. A friend of mine actually shot himself a couple months ago, and I sat down to talk to him, and immediately when I sat down, he came to me, like literally in like probably like 10 or 12 seconds. I could never get that with her, and he came to me like immediately. You know what I mean? And I never got that with her. But then when I did try and see her after I thought she might be alive, that's when I immediately went to and I saw that living room, and I think it was their place. Okay. So now I'm on the fence about that one. I still don't know.
In your heart right now, do you think she died in the hospital from an abscess in her tooth that she never went to?
I don't. Her sister says you do better. I don't really. That's why I feel like I kept looking,
Okay. If she were alive, what would that mean?
I don't know. I just wanted to be doing better. You know what I mean? That's all I ever wanted. And I just think it was wrong how they did that. They didn't have to lie to me or whatever. You know what I mean? That's not okay.
That's assuming she's alive.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. That's assuming she's alive. And what I'm trying to get you to understand is your heart not letting go?
No, I mean, I've made my peace with that. You know what I mean?
No, you haven't.
You don't think so?
No, you haven't.
Maybe I haven't.
No, you haven't. And everyone in the audience knows
I probably haven't because I never got closure. That's the whole thing. Yeah.
You never got closure, and your mother died at the same time.
Yeah, that was lame.
Okay. How'd your mother die?
She was battling cancer. She had when I was 11, they told me she had 6 months. She had breast cancer, a mastectomy, and then she had hysterectomy, and then she had another mastectomy or whatever, and then she had lymphoma. Man, she went through the ringer on that one for like 30 years. And then she had one of the hernia mesh implants or whatever, and she had like a bladder infection for like 3 or 4 years, pretty much constantly. And that's what it ended up being, complications of that and everything else.
Okay. My first piece of advice for you is you got to finish mourning your mother and your girlfriend. And I'm going to tell you this. I don't think she's alive.
You know?
On this timeline. When people choose not to go to the doctor over something as simple as a tooth, there's a greater karmic journey behind it.
No, yeah.
It's not just being tough bullshitter. She knew damn well she was ill and needed to go to the hospital. She just couldn't.
No, I agree for sure. 100%. Okay? She was tired of living for sure.
She was tired of living, and she died here and woke up somewhere else. Okay? So she's not living on this timeline anymore. This happens frequently. you are going through a moment where you're having visions popping, and her passing and the way she passed, as traumatic as it was still there for you to see how potent and powerful you are. And the fact that you can do things even with the shit that's going on. So mourn her passing, mourn your mother's passing. And when you're done mourning, and understand mourning is just letting time go by where they're not there, they're not a part of your life, but at the same time allowing new things into your life that allow you to grow.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I agree with that one. You know,
Okay.
when the other girl was talking about how she eased in on having you guys answer, when she said that, I basically said, okay, I'm gonna make him call me, make him pick me. And I sat there the
And
whole
you did.
time, and I was like, yeah. And I did. It's pretty funny. I pretty much made that one happen for sure.
Okay.
I'm glad you guys got that.
So my other piece of advice for you is, when's the last time you've been intimate with somebody since she's passed?
Man, I feel like I'm a born again virgin right now. I don't know.
So
I just don't like anybody these days. It's pretty bad out there. Pretty slim picking out there. Most of the girls out here are so bad.
No, the ones you see are bad, because the majority of them are cat ladies in waiting. Okay. And you're going to have to change some of your standards of what is intimate type material.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree on that one.
Okay. No more crazy bitches.
My little dog.
No more crazy bitches.
No, that's for sure. That's for
okay.
sure.
And for the women out there, no more crazy men. Part of your journey is going to be intimacy again. And some of these women you're seeing in visions are women from other timelines who are trying to figure out how to get to meet you and you to meet them.
That's what I was thinking. That's what's weird.
Right. Like that moment where you were both going like, what are we doing here? How is this happening? Both of you saw each other through time vision. And now you're trying to make your linear times line up so you can physically meet in the real world through synchronicity.
I was thinking exactly that. What kind of stuff have I done in my past lives?
A little of this, a little of that, a mastering of this, a peppering of that. You were a jack of all trades and master of many. Long story short, you're an long story short, you're an old soul who doesn't get to do it the easy way anymore. How would a young soul survive a girlfriend dying and a mother dying all in the same year?
My brother died like the last 2 weeks ago too. And
there you go. Even more proof.
He had the same birthday.
You're an old soul. And you've got to figure out a way to be successful in this world with all the challenges, still being able to love and return love too.
Yeah, believe it or not, I'm being gang stalked right now too. It's ridiculous. I don't understand how these find these people. Honestly, it's okay. It happened this one day. This guy came out. I just got off work and I went to the store, right? And I was sitting out in my car getting ready to leave. And some guy comes with the car and he asked me to go in and buy him a soda. I'm like, why don't you? He said he just wouldn't sell it to me. And I said, I was like, really? It was like 105 degrees. So I went in there, got this old man a soda. And I said, yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. You wouldn't sell that guy a soda. It's like 105 degrees. He threw my money at me and snatched the soda out of my hand. I'm like, really?
You met a demon. You met a demon.
Yeah, I batted the
and
chip.
You shouldn't have bought the demon a soda, but you did. Why?
No, it wasn't that guy. It was the guy inside the store. The teller did this.
Yeah,
the teller did this, and then he comes outside and tries to throw a Dr. Pepper at my dog, and that's when one of the guys like followed me out because I ended up bear macing the guy. And next thing I know, like I'm at Home Depot.
You bear maced him. Hold on. You bear maced him?
Yeah, he literally came out the door and like tried to like pull my door off the hinges, and he took my Dr. Pepper that I already paid for, and he wound up, and some lady was standing there. She's like, "You're gonna kill a dog," and he winds up like throws like full speed fucking sorry about that, a full speed Dr. Pepper through my window, and luckily it hit the top of my car like the windowsill right there, and it just barely missed my dog. And like he was literally like going crazy.
Yeah,
So
you
I
met
was
a
like,
demon.
man,
You met a demon, somebody that was possessed.
yeah, it was ridiculous. So then I bear maced him, and next thing I know, I got these people like, and it was these people like that work with him and stuff. They were like a bunch of the first people that were doing it, that, like his employees and stuff.
Okay.
And it's like I don't understand where they find all these people. It's kind of depressing, like how many people they have doing this, and like these kids and stuff that are out here doing this stuff, like older people that are out here. It's like, man, in the twilight of my life, that's the last thing I would be doing, listening to somebody's lies and doing this to somebody for virtually no reason. And I know they heard some crap about me or something that is made up. You know what I mean? But I figure it's like they chased some girl that I didn't really meet her, but I saw her, and she threw herself in front of a train in 2018 after they chased her around for 30 days straight. She literally walked in front of the train, and she just turned 18 years old, and it was tragic. You know what I mean? And that was like my girlfriend actually saw her that day, and she's like, they're like, what are you up to? She's like, waiting for a train. And my girlfriend immediately, she pumped the brakes. She's like, that doesn't sound right. You know what I mean? And but our friend like talked her into like going reluctantly, and on the way back when she saw the train and the tape up, and the train stopped, and some guy standing there with a smirk on his face talking about some girl threw herself in front of a train, like all satisfied with a smug expression on his face, and it crushed her. And that was like the beginning of the end right there. I told her she couldn't blame herself for that, but she never got past that. And it's sad, like these people around here, so many people are doing this. I don't understand it. It's like crazy, but I figure it's better they're doing it to me than following another 17-year-old girl around, because to watch her to see that happen.
Where is this place that you're at? Where was this place at?
In Sacramento. You could see it. You could look it up on Google. It's in 2018.
Okay, never mind. I know Sacramento. All right, so what's going on? Whenever there's major issues in the California state representative power, demons flood Sacramento. And I mean flood it. And it's on a really regular basis because it's the capital of California. And you're running into the bands of demons that come and go from that city.
Yeah, and they're on me. They hate me so much, and I was
like, move. Go to Vacaville. Go to Vacaville. Go to fucking anywhere.
Right. I do need to. I'm thinking about going to Texas.
Texas won't be much better for you.
Really?
Can you handle humidity?
No, I hate it.
Oof.
Right now it's ridiculous in Sacramento. The weather is so bad. It's so hot and it's so muggy.
Can you handle snow?
No, I hate the snow.
All right, so you got a very limited amount of places that you can go. Okay.
No doubt.
Pretty much the entire South is all humid, so you're screwed. Okay. And believe it or not, Texas has some very humid days depending where you're at. Okay. Other than that, you've got New Mexico, Arizona, Southern California.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to work it out somehow.
Well, why don't you like snow? Have you ever really been in it?
Oh, I spent plenty of time in the snow in Truckee. I've spent like a lot of time in the snow.
Okay.
I'm just skinny, and I just freeze.
Well, you can wear layers. That's the whole key of when you're in winter.
Yeah, that's the best thing about winter. You could always bundle up. You can't do nothing in the summer.
Exactly. You can only strip down until you're naked, and then it still sucks.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look into moving. Obviously, you don't want to be in demon territory anymore. You want to be in positive territory that helps you grow with your skills.
That is what I need to do, and I do think they are demons because the look on these people's faces is like it's ridiculous.
That's right. Wear layers. Yeah. Any other questions that you wanted to ask me?
No, I just wanted to hear about some of the stuff, like some of the lives, but what do you see in my future?
Well, there's a reason I didn't tell you about your past. That I only gave you something very vague. It's because this lifetime is not about your past. It's about what you've done this lifetime. That's why so many people have passed away in your presence. You have a very close understanding of it. And that's something that this world needs, is people who understand the difficult aspects of the world, who are willing to say, this is my story. Okay, this doesn't mean you need to be a super spiritual teacher. It just means you need to start telling your story.
I've been thinking
You've been
that for
through.
a long time.
Well, now you've got to take it from not really written down into it's real. I wrote it. Now I got to do something with it. Yeah, Sean Bibby in the chat says, Chapter 7, Buying a Soda in Demonville. Great chapter title. Okay?
Man, you don't even wonder about how I faced the 3 serial killers.
There you go. Chapter 8, 2 serial killers and a soda bottle.
Yeah. That was pretty ridiculous too. I've been thinking about that.
At what point do you just realize that you've lived these are real stories? They're not fake.
No,
This
they're
shit
not.
needs to be told.
Probably does. Probably
Okay.
does.
Are you truck driving now?
No, I'm just posted in my car with my dog.
No. Are you driving for money now? Or do you have a truck driving job? What kind of job do you have now?
Right now, I'm not working. I need to work. I was thinking about, I was going to start doing construction with my brother, start painting.
Well, yeah, anything that gets you active again.
Yeah, that is what I need to do. I've been in a slump. I'm just starting to really come out of it right now.
Okay, just understand, as you start to become active again, your psychic skills are going to turn on even more. And it's very important you pay attention to your diet. A lot of times when you're in that funky space like you've been in for the last year, when you start to do work again, you'll go a day or half a day without eating and then binge on food, and it'll really screw up your spiritual growth process. So really be solid on getting your solid 40 grams of protein every day. Okay, even if you end up having to eat fast food, you got to make sure that you're giving yourself all the energy for the physical labor side, and then the spiritual labors that you're going to be doing when you're not at work. Because as you begin to paint, painting is its own form of meditation. Okay, and you will have powerful visions while you're painting. Okay. And you need to control. You need to. You're going to need to control them as well as report about them, write them down, because these are going to be experiences. And then after a while, you'll be able to control the visions where it won't come while you're painting. It'll come at home when you're in meditation, sun gazing, out walking, and you'll have the ability to turn it on and off at will.
That's pretty much what I do right now. I started doing this thing a long time ago where like when I would yawn, you get that feeling when you're like at the top of a yawn where it's like you're completely relaxed. Like I started capturing that moment, and for like when I first started doing it, it was only for like a second, but now I could just like turn it on and keep it on, and I feel like that's like squeezing like that area, like it's right where my pineal gland is. I'm not sure if that's what it is, but I feel like that's got to be what it is, because I do that and immediately, and like I could get right into the zone like instantly.
Well, as you start to do more exercise and athletic work and painting and moving the arms and having to grow muscle, it's going to get more active than it already is. That's what I'm trying to tell you. All right, brother, I got to let you go and move on to another caller.
Okay, thanks, Andrew. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Thanks a lot for calling in. All right, Robert, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
Great calls tonight. M. Louise, signal to unmute.
M. Louise, are you there?
Yes, thank you for taking my call.
Hi, where are you calling from?
Sedona.
Another Sidonian. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
What did you want to talk about today?
So a couple of questions. I received a job offer not yesterday, but last Wednesday. And we went into salary talks by the evening, and then it just went silent. And I was just wondering if you had any insight as to what happened or
What's
recommendations.
the job? What's the job?
It's a health and wellness writing and editing position.
And how did the people come to find you, or you find them?
I was referred by a friend, and I went through 4 rounds of interviews, and after the 4th round, they made an offer. And then I began the negotiation actually through a recruiter. So there is a third party intermediary, and I don't know if something was misconstrued. And obviously that recruiter gets paid a huge chunk of money as well. And I was referred by someone who already works in the company. So I don't know if that would have been a problem. So anyway, they just went completely silent.
How professional were the interviews?
They were actually very casual. I wouldn't say they were that professional. It wasn't as corporate as my past experience. And they claim to be, the company in general claims to have a very different corporate culture, like a more relaxed corporate culture.
Do you know roughly how many people work in it?
Oh my gosh, no, they have offices all over the world.
Okay, so they're an international company then.
They're an international company. This is a small sector in Phoenix. I mean, actually, most people work remotely now because of the past 2 years, but
right.
This is like a small little section of the company that works in health and wellness with food and beverage.
So you would just write their health and wellness blogs? Like, what was the nature of the contract they wanted you to do?
The nature of the contract, it was more of a content manager where I would be editing, writing blogs, overseeing content, being at events because they run health and wellness expos.
You're probably not going to get the job because the people that were recruiting were given wrong information about the totality of the job, and that the price that they're hiring you at is for a different position than actually what they're advertising for. And there's an issue with the recruiter also. When the first person called, said, we need a person to do this, this, and this, there was an initial mistake from the company side, meaning they really should have hired somebody far more experienced for that position instead of the lower experience levels they put out. But you still match some of the higher experience levels. And somebody's trying to cover up mistakes right now.
Okay. So they're going to come back and rescind the offer, correct?
Or they'll give you a lowball.
Okay.
Okay. And a change in the contract.
Okay.
So when is the last time you've actually had communication from them?
It was last Wednesday night, not yesterday, last week. I had spoken to the recruiter and he said, ball's in their court. Let's see if they'll come back and meet us at this number. And so he said, this other woman is out of town, but I'm going to get back to you on Friday. Didn't hear anything from Friday and haven't heard anything at all this week, which is unusual because they wanted to close pretty quickly.
Right, because somebody's covering some mistakes up. So you've done nothing wrong. There's just been too many mistakes in this hiring process, and they're trying to cover up the mistakes so other managers don't see this.
Okay.
Okay.
And so moving forward, would you take this job if you were me?
Tell me more about your writing background.
I've written mostly, I started out in the entertainment industry. I'm an English major from an Ivy League college, but then I moved into health and wellness as I had my own health and wellness issues. I've been doing it for 20 plus years, a lot of editing, writing for magazines, reading medical studies and that kind of thing, and a lot of research. And
research for other people or research for yourself?
Research for other people, for articles.
Okay. So you're like a medical investigative reporter on the holistic side.
Correct.
Okay. Why have you never gone into business for yourself in this?
I could never figure out how to make it work, honestly. I did try in 2014, and it's like I had the idea, but I couldn't download the format.
The format is you're a public speaker that as an expert in the material you're an expert in.
Okay.
It's that simple. That's your business model. I'm a public speaker on the parts that I've expertised in, all of the research that I've done for others. Here's my proven job work history. da 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 da, your bio.
Okay.
And then you need to make your own lifestyle brand, which is all of the holistic wisdom you have in a drip-fed format that people will begin to follow you in.
Yeah, I don't know why I've resisted that. I talk about it all the time to friends and family.
It's the public-facing side,
Yes.
recognizing that you could make it to Oprah in a couple years if you tried.
Oh, okay. I wasn't thinking that far.
No, you weren't, because you shoot yourself in the foot. You don't allow the vision to go that far.
Okay.
Because you're still a slave to the man, meaning working for others.
Yeah. Okay.
So would I take this job? Do you need the money?
I need the benefits, the medical at this point.
So if you didn't have the job and were paying the medical benefits on your own, could you survive?
Yeah, probably.
How hard would it be?
Honestly, I don't know.
Then do the budget. Do the actual in math linear budget that shows you can or can't.
Okay.
Because you can probably, in my own view, if you get on GitHub and some of the other freelancer spaces, probably make more money than what that job is offering.
Okay.
Okay. You have so much educational background that tens of thousands of other websites would love to buy your blogs and put them on there.
Right.
And you know the industry works that way. Like there's one person that writes most of the stories and gets dedicated to 1,000 websites.
Okay.
So my answer is to you, do the raw linear math.
Okay.
And if you don't have to if you have to get the job knowing full well you are going to be putting effort into self-supporting it, to getting out of the corporate world and start your own lineage brand.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And write a book, write a manual, write a how-to list.
Yeah. Yeah, I download that stuff all the time. I'm just not carrying it out,
It's more than not carrying it out. I would say that in your computer, there's probably 50 files that are completed enough that could go on a website and would blow the shit out of everyone.
Okay.
Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. Why the fuck aren't you monetizing the work you've done? Because
you're
still having an issue that you did the work for others, and the other's stature is what elevated your work.
Okay.
You were doing it for this blah, 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 and you have your Ivy League degree, and that was just enough to make the article acceptable because of the corporation that it's coming from has this mythos of trust versus you generating your own trust.
I understand.
Huh?
Okay.
So what can you do to stop that?
Just take action, right?
It's more than take action. It's hold yourself accountable to the action.
Okay.
Okay. What have you learned from self-help and wellness about failure to launch, failure to start?
Fear of failure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And past disappointment, holding on to past disappointment.
Uh-huh. You know it. You don't need to hear it from me. Okay. What's it going to take for you to believe that those words are true? And that holding yourself accountable has to really mean something.
I don't know, because I feel like if I did know, I would have done it already.
No, you're just not allowing yourself to see it or do it. You're defeating before you start.
I guess I don't think I can do it, right?
Yeah, you can do it. But because you're defeating before you start, you never see the actual win that's there when you do.
Okay.
I think the easiest thing for you to do is go into your computer, pull up all your files, everything you can do, print everything out, no matter how many pages it is, and look at what you've produced professionally. Okay? And then find the top 5 and start a website with the information that's from the top 5.
Okay.
And a website doesn't need anything more than your bio, the documents you want to share, and that you independently write in health and holistic stuff and inquiries through an email.
Okay.
That basic. Okay.
Yeah. And some of the stuff that I align with would be like anti-vaccine. Do I write about that or no?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Just understand Facebook and YouTube won't let you put that stuff up, but your own webpage can have it.
Okay.
Okay.
I just didn't know if that would hurt.
Or you put it on an off-country server, and you just direct people to the papers you want them to read or the information that you want. There's plenty of ways around that.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. How much have you looked into natural birthing?
I have a friend who's a pretty famous doula, and I, worked for her and edited for her and researched for her book. And so I've been exposed to it. I don't know that I haven't researched it in depth, but I hear a lot.
You have an experience. Do an interview with her.
Okay.
Call her up and do an interview. And if you could do it by Zoom and get video, even better.
Okay.
Okay. And just put yourself in the situation as a writer. I want first-time mothers who have never understood what conscious birthing is and what the doula can do, what it is, and ask her the questions from that point of view.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. I bet you there are a dozen other people you could interview too.
There are. It's always popped up in my mind, but I don't like to be on camera.
Where?
All right.
Why don't you want to be on camera?
I'm just super self-conscious. And that was the other part of my question was, for example, when I had to start negotiating, I get nervous. I thought it was going to happen in the interviews. It didn't, but it did happen during negotiation where I feel like someone punched me in the stomach and I lose my air and get kind of breathy. And I don't know what causes that. I don't even know when it comes in.
Have you been listening to me for a while?
Yes.
So then when I say when the mouse farts next door, you can smell it. In that moment, you got super sensitive and your psychic nose went right to their butt and got a big old sniff. And you brought it in, which discombobulated you.
Okay.
Okay. That's where empathy and empaths fail in public situations where they got to negotiate. You can't be in the negotiator's energy. It's actually opposite of you. They don't, they want to get you to agree to their views versus your view.
Right.
So you went right into the toxic energy and brought it in. Not that they're toxic people. It's just the nature of the negotiating situation.
But it can happen in, I don't know when it's going to happen. It can happen in any situation. I never know when it's going to happen.
Because you don't have impulse control over it.
Okay.
Which means you are a feral empath. You don't have control of your skill. You got to learn to get control over it.
And what should I, is there a class or a book?
Breathing exercises first, and then you're going to have to learn self-interrogation. Why did this happen? Am I not strong enough to resist this? This is just a conversation of negotiation. It's not going to end my world.
Right.
Why have I discombobulated myself? Why can't I think through this? I'm a fucking genius.
Okay.
You've got to literally learn true self-interrogation, and you got to let your aspects being interrogated answer. Because oftentimes the answer tells you their purpose. And once you know their purpose, you can unravel them.
Okay. All right. So it's not some weird past life thing. That's what I was assuming.
No, but everybody assumes it's past life before it's present life. And one of the things I say almost all the time, it's more about this life than past life. Yes, there are people that are born with major past life issues, but that's why they were born. The rest of the world was born to be in this lifetime. That's why we're at the Great Awakening. So I'll figure out how to do it on our own self-awakening journey.
Okay.
No cookie cutter way to awaken. Everyone's going to do it different.
Yeah.
So why are you really self-conscious about your looks? What really happened that you don't see yourself as a beautiful woman?
Well, I'm older now, and
Oh, yeah, you're older. You're a cougar then. It's a change of mind.
I don't know. I really don't know. I just don't feel comfortable on camera.
Okay. Did you have intimacy issues when you were young?
I mean, I had like the normal self-consciousness, but not to the point where I couldn't enjoy myself.
Okay. Was your first experience, mediocre, but it showed you how to grow through it?
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay. So then why don't you see yourself as you are today with the same energy? I know life happens, but I want to know, in your view, why did you give yourself this perception that you're less?
Because I'm a perfectionist and have spent a lot of time before I moved here, I was in LA for 20 years. And you should look a certain way if you're going to be on camera.
Now we got some vanity. Now we have
Yeah.
some vanity issues coming up.
Yeah, no question. I will absolutely cop to vanity. I've been like that since I was a kid.
Okay. In all of your time in self-help, motivation, medicine, all of this, what have you learned about vain people and what the people tell about other vanity people?
They're
Living
just
in LA, you would have seen vain people everywhere.
that are insecure, right?
Yes, and vanity will drive them into situations they cannot handle, and they become drama artists.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a drama artist?
I don't think so.
When you lived in LA, were you a drama artist?
I think in my 20s when I didn't know better, but I think once I got to, I'd say mid-30s, I was, really into my healing and my path and got away from that.
Okay, so you let go of the young girl and accepted yourself as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
But that young girl is still inside you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Did you stuff her down or did you just forget about her?
I guess I forgot about her.
Well, maybe you got to remember her. And that's why this inability to go on stage, inability to be on camera is because your teenage 20-year-old hot self is not giving you the hot energy that you truly are. That uber spiritual confidence flow.
Okay.
Okay. That whenever you were in a profile pic, every man turned his eyes. That's an energy you create in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
And there's a journey to rediscovering that for you. Are you in a relationship now?
No.
When's the last time you've been in a relationship?
It's been almost 2 years since my last long-term relationship.
What happened?
I don't know. The quarantine came on and he just all of a sudden was just like, I want to break up. And he had been talking about marriage and kids. And I was really shocked. We were 2 weeks into lockdown and I didn't see it coming. And I don't know. I think
what did he do for a job?
He at the time was leaving the post office to go work on an organic farm and was getting into like food production and farmers markets and that managing farmers markets and that type of thing.
Okay. And how long had you been with him?
We'd been together almost 3 years.
And how did you meet him?
We met through his cousin, who was my best friend. I never even knew he existed. And he moved to LA from Pennsylvania and we just hit it off.
Okay. What do you know about his childhood?
I know that there was sexual abuse from a babysitter when he was about 4 or 5. And he lost his voice. I think he had trouble stepping into his masculine energy. And I think it was pretty codependent as well. Not healthy parents or dynamic.
So he's running from the fact that he had to face the reality of what love was. And I don't want to call him fake. He was traumatized where he has to have a screen personality. And it reached the point in your relationship, subconsciously, you knew the difference between the him and the fake him, the facade. And his programs got worried you would see the rest, and he had to bolt. And he's going to
Okay.
be doing this to women after women after women after women. This is going to be a long-standing pattern.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I started to see the mask.
Okay. Yeah. And it
Yeah.
kept changing and changing and changing. The thing is, you loved him.
I did. That was my
And you still
the
and you
only-
still love him.
Yeah.
And you still love
Yeah.
him. Okay. Yeah. Now that you're separated from him, can you see how your feral empathy can overindulge some of his energies?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you truly realize that he was a narcissist?
Not until after.
Okay.
Not until after the break.
There is the real pain. Okay. With all this wisdom you have, you fell for a narcissist who was abused as a child. And unfortunately, that's what ends up happening. Okay. To a lot of
Yeah.
people who are abused.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. When you're ready to love again, there'll be more. It's only been 2 years. Don't let it go
Yeah.
more than 3.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I feel ready now, but not a lot of options here.
But you're too old. Okay. How old are you?
45.
I'm 48, so you're still a spring chicken woman.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not even you're still hot status. You're not cougar.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. Yeah.
Cougars are 50 and 60. Okay.
Yeah.
When's the last time
The-
you've even seen yourself on camera?
Like on Instagram, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm. So you can do an Instagram video, but you can't do a personal video about everything you know.
No, you're right. I mean, I just need to get over it. It's enough.
You need to let your hot girl, 20-year-old self back into your body, do the inner work child with her, reintegrate her, and get that hot energy feeling that isn't sexuality. It's the confidence in being in your body.
Yeah. Okay.
You got a whip.
Thank you.
All right, darling. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much. Really love you. Really appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thanks a lot. All right, Robert. Let's 9 o'clock here. We still have a bunch of hands raised. Let's do one more caller.
All righty. I think Will MD Rhyme Topper. Signal to unmute.
Will, the Realm Topper.
Realm
Long
Topper.
time caller. How you doing? Will. Unmute yourself, Will. Run, but don't stub your toe. William.
Hello.
There he is.
Oh my gosh, I was
You
picked.
made it. You influenced you another caller influencer.
That's funny because I did pray about that early in the show when I got here.
And here you are. How's it been? It's been a little while since we talked. What do you want to talk about today?
Yeah. So so I don't know if you remember last time we spoke. We I was talking about how I was doing really well. I was in a great job.
We're with the Amazon job where you're training people. Yeah.
And you encouraged me to go speak with my boss so I can get that promotion. So I did all that. I made a big plan, talked to him. He was really happy. He was like, "Hey, throw me a number, how much you want to get paid, and we're gonna make that happen." So everything was going well. And then right at the beginning of May, I was told all of a sudden I got a call from my boss, and he was like, "I want you to go home for the day. I'm going to call you in the morning." I'm like, "Okay." So I get a call in the morning, and they told me they eliminated my position. So since then, I have been struggling to trying to find a job, and taken what I could, just to try to pay bills, So right now I'm just kind of bouncing around from one job to the next right now, because it feels like every job I go to, it just kind of falls apart. But it feels like this great. What I really wanted to ask was, kind of going back 2.5 years prior to that, you talked about an ancestral neutralizing soup, and I did all that, and I felt that a few months later, like not too much long later, like everything became better because I was having trouble with ancestral issues where I live, with my neighbors, with the home, everything. So so I did all that, and that everything got better because that's when I got the better job. Everything was going up. Everything in life was just getting better. And so I have not kept up with that. And I didn't know if that correlated because I didn't continue to do that every 6 months or every year. And that's why it just feels like everything's going wrong now. Like just
you're the one that recognizes everything is going wrong. And when we do a spiritual practice that we have a lot of dedication to and then walk away from, it is an affront to the spiritual person that was you.
Okay. What does that mean?
The person that was you that did it, the future you just walked away from that work you did.
Oh,
and if you would have continued it, it still would have been beneficial to you, but you continued to not do it, which means the ancestral energies that are inside you are changing.
I see.
And it may be time for you to recognize you've got to change locations. That the energies, no matter how much work you do, the place that you love to live at is changing too fast for you to be stable in it.
Okay. So I need to just stop fighting, trying to stay here and keep this home. And I was just actually kind of thinking that because I was just sitting here doing like my tarot and trying to talk to my guides and stuff like that. And that was a big question that actually just dawned on me this very day.
Yeah. You're going against an upstream energy. That means everything you do is going to be greatly reduced unless you're topping your energy and being a top level practitioner all the time. You don't need to live in that environment because you're just battling the environment now.
Feels like it for sure.
Right. So go to some place where you don't battle the environment.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking about that today. I think I need to stop fighting being here, just stop fighting against the force that I'm just gonna have to kind of get out of here as fast as I can. You and I
talked many times, and I know the situation with you and your mother in that house. Yeah, you got to get rid of the house, and your mom's going to have to live on her own if she's not already there.
I've actually talked to her about that. She's ready to, take her cut and go ahead and go somewhere like near other family.
Okay, where would you go?
Just off the top of my head, trying to think of places that might be good for my energy and spiritual growth. I don't know, maybe Oregon or Washington.
And why would those areas be good for your growth?
Well, I feel like I probably need the difference between want to get away from the Gulf, from the South. I think this energy, just like you said, is just not doing me good. I don't think I should be in a landlocked state. I think I need some level of water energy.
What about Michigan?
Michigan?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Can you handle snow?
I mean, I'm sure I can. I can adapt. I like snow.
Have you ever driven in snow?
I have not. Yes, I have, kind of. Just slightly, but not a lot.
But not a lot. You haven't had experienced a super blizzard while you're trying to drive your car 50 miles to go to an airport. You haven't had that harrowing experience yet.
No,
Okay. You know, because you have all this experience driving, you can instead of Amazon, go to FedEx. Instead of FedEx, go to DHL and just find local delivery routes. It's the same business you're in, different company.
it's not that, but like you said, so why would Michigan be? Do you feel Michigan is definitely somewhere?
Because it's got Great Lakes on all sides.
But
And it's a extremely powerful center of energy.
is it?
Yes.
So
That all that area is. I say Michigan for you because you have ancestral relations to the Indians that lived in that area and used the lakes as their international superhighway that allowed them to go everywhere and trade before white man came.
okay. And would I be fighting an upflowing energy there, or it would?
No, you would get out there and you would pee on the four corners of your property, telling all the predators are out there, this is my space, bitch. Do a little bit of battle and then own your territory because nothing's really going to fight you hard there.
Okay.
Whereas
Okay.
everything's fighting you hard there because you've got so much of that swamp and hurricane energy that traps souls.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but and so as I work towards that, should I do another ancestral neutrality?
Yes.
Kind of
Yes.
minimize.
Yes.
Till I get out of there. Get out
Yes. And it'll help you uncover where the right place to go is.
of there?
Okay. Michigan isn't the only place for you. It's going to be budget based.
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe you just need to move temporarily somewhere else to get your shit in order and find, your groove again. And then whatever you choose to do as a job.
Yeah. Yeah. I like
Okay.
that. Yeah. I mean, I got a lot of experience in the transportation, delivery, logistics.
Right. So you could literally go to any city that you want to go to. Okay. It's just a matter of learning the roads, which should be easy for you.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, so I guess I'm just kind of stuck at this point where it's like
you're not stuck. You're more free. Yeah, no. You're more free now than you ever were before. The house isn't the anchor holding you in place.
I just have to get something temporarily to stabilize me because right now I'm bouncing around. If I keep bouncing, I can't stabilize financially enough to where I can go, okay, I can, pay for that move. I can, save up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm trying to figure out is how do I stabilize the energies enough to where I can, or do something to where maybe an ancestral offering soup where I could do some sort of ancestral offering soup where I could bring in just a temporary, good, decent job so I could stabilize and get the hell out of here.
Well, it doesn't work that way.
Okay.
It doesn't work that way. If everyone could put the silver quarter into the ancestral soup machine and they'd all get something on the other side, everyone would be doing it. Okay. Part of doing it is without an expectation of something in return. If the universe brings you in something in return, it's because you had the capacity to see it.
Okay.
Okay. So you can't do the soup with the intention of getting the job. Okay.
No, I was
just got to do the soup to balance the energies so you can see where the right choice is for you. The right choice, I'll be blunt, could be you got to find a job outside of that area. And it might be you'd have to leave your mom until you're financially stable to come back and sell the house, or it's going to take forever to sell the house, and you're not going to be in the way that you thought because you won't know until the house is sold and done. And then, is the money between you and your mom going to be split on the house?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's money to move anywhere you want.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So call a real estate agent and put it up for sale.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let the universe pay you back that way.
Okay.
Do the ancestral soup. Okay. Yeah. That allows you to untach from the land and find somewhere new that's right for you.
Okay.
Thank the ancestors for all the good that they done. There are just too many negative things going on in the environment for the ancestors to help you anymore.
Yeah, it just feels like they can only protect me so much. That's what it feels
That's right.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm not going to fight it anymore. I'm going to go ahead and try to do what I can, stabilize, and then sell it, get rid of the house. Just get out of here. Don't even, I mean, I was thinking for a while, maybe turn it into an Airbnb or rent it out, but I think they'll just tag my energy still down here.
Well, how much would you be able to rent it for if it was somebody getting a 2-year lease?
I have to reevaluate the home because I have done renovations. So I have to get a new figure. They have to tell
2,000 a month, 4,000 a month. What's the rough guess?
I would say a little less than 2,000, maybe 1,500.
Okay, so under 24,000 a year, you'd be making on rent.
Yeah.
And knowing that you have to put money into the house, is the mortgage still done or is it paid off?
It is halfway done. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then the majority of the money would be going to the mortgage. In all reality, you'd really only make 5,000 or 6,000 by the end of the year for renting it out.
That's correct. So I think it would be
right. It'd be better to sell it.
Right.
And get all that debt paid off and whatever you have for the two of you to go your own way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's just the best choice. I just wanted definitely, I'm so glad I was able to talk to you because I needed that clarity. And I didn't know which direction to go. It's just so confusing right now. Yeah. I don't even
well, now you know which way to go. And I know you're a really good practitioner. You'll figure it out. And then all of a sudden you're going to have a slap in the forehead day. Like, fuck, why didn't I do this before?
Yeah.
That damn Bartzis, why didn't he tell me?
I think he did tell me in a session, but it's funny because every time somebody tries to mention that type of stuff to me, it's either the session gets damaged or it was almost like something didn't want me to know to abandon.
There you go.
So
now you know.
Yeah. I mean that is. I'm glad I was really able to talk to you. So I'm really glad, my guides and my prayers got it. Were able to help me talk to you. So
see, you're another caller. All you other callers out there, you can influence the wheel of callers. We've had 3 callers today that have done it.
Hey, look, and all I said was, look, if there's people that need it more than me, then so be it. But but I could really use it right now. Well, that is really great advice. I'm so glad to finally just have clarity. It's just fine for me. I'm just going to pull the trigger, and then is there really anything else that I should know or good that can really just help the path ahead of me be more smooth? Yeah, you see.
Let me find the right words.
Okay.
The journey to letting go of this house is not going to be as easy as you think it is. There are past aspects of you who made an oath to never leave there.
Really?
Would you agree with that?
I had no idea.
Well, think about some of our earlier calls that you had and some of the emotional things that you were going through and how that house got you to be clear again.
Yeah.
It was like our first, second, and third call was like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how much the work that you did in the house and you really wanted to stay there and be with your mom. So there are parts of you who don't want to give it up.
I see.
And that's the part to look at.
Okay. So I need to do like the inner work to let go of those energy hooks.
To find the parts of yourself who back then was still a high level practitioner, because you did the work back then. You did all of it. It made a difference for you. And that your next level of high practitioner work is you got to go tell the old souls, we got to go do this somewhere else.
Okay.
And I need you to come with me, not
Yeah.
be stuck at this house.
Yeah, I don't want to leave definitely any energetic parts of me here, for sure.
So that's the shutting down of all the ceremonial work you have done on the house. And that you make a commitment to yourself that before you leave, you will properly shut down the energies there.
Can you give me advice on how to do that, guidance?
It'll be a prayer process of all the guides and guardians, both good, bad, and neutral, that have been there. Thank you for service. Thank you for your time. I'm now beginning to shut the portals and go over the many memories you can think of. This is now only a memory in my light, no longer impressed into this space. I release this space from having the responsibility of holding on to these memories. Let it be a part of the background of all ancestral energies. And that's the metaphor through prayer. And it's, you really got to bring up all the good memories and the bad memories and the neutral memories and the dumb memories and begin the letting go process so that you can have the vision of the new place to make the new memories, so that your ancestral council can help find that place for you in your dream space and tell you through gut-based direction where to go next, what to do.
Okay, so I can do that. Totally. All right.
Yes, it's all within your capacity. Okay. And is it going to be done in one flip of the finger? You may have to do the rituals several times. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'll work on that.
Okay. And if you end up selling the house and you think there's still parts there, you don't physically need to be at the house to do the disconnection. It's just before you before the new people move in, make sure you have done your due diligence.
Okay. And that's like saging and maybe like another ancestral soup of
Yeah,
just
letting go soup. Thank you for the memories.
Okay. All right. I could do that. Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. All right.
Pressure's off. The pressure's off of you now.
Yeah. I feel
Okay.
less stressed about it now.
So I want you to go grab a globe and every day spin it and see where your finger lands.
Okay.
Okay. And just tell yourself, I am that free. I have never been this free. Goodbye, swamp.
Yes. So much crazy energy down here. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Well, you're welcome. We'll take it easy, man. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, Robert, is Monty there?
He's here. I'm not sure if he's coming. Monty.
Montosaurus Rex.
What? Trying to live a life here, people. How are you, Andrew?
Wait, a hermit living a life? How do you do that?
Well, you don't leave the house and you continue to eat food.
And you're a cat man.
Yeah. The lesser known.
Yes. So what's new with you?
Yesterday, I came up with a slogan, and whenever I have enthusiastic energy, I'll be putting it out as a T-shirt. But the slogan is, now I've forgotten what it is. Oh, that's right. Stay alive till 25.
Till 2025?
Yeah, but I figured out spiritually, like, yeah, if you make it to 2025, you're on good footing. Because, I mean, that's what, 2.5 years away or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to get really crazy. So, I'm part of the Spiritual Anonymous, one day at a time. Hello, my name's Monty. I'm a fractal of the Prime Creator. Hello, Monty.
Yep.
I'm just taking it one day at a time. So
And
stay
thank
alive
you.
to 25.
Yeah, and thank you, Sean, in the chat room for saying stay alive and duck the thrown soda cans.
Yeah, in certain circumstances. Other times you can just catch the soda cans. It depends on the velocity.
Yes.
Is it a demon or an angel?
It's an angel. It's an angel. So it's a demon soda.
Demon cola. Taste the brimstone.
Taste the brimstone.
Yes.
It'll be
So,
like
yeah.
ash. It'll be like ash in your mouth. This will never never quench a thirst.
No, and you just wait till it comes out the other end. You thought Taco Bell was bad. Ooh.
Yeah, you thought Taco Bell was bad.
The 7 layers of hell in a can.
There we go. This is an awesome marketing meeting we're having.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, stay alive till 25 and demon cola.
Well, I think we need to create our demon cola.
Do you think the enemy is like, wait, I suppose they'll probably agree to it because they'll make money. Actually, I don't think anyone would drink it, though. It's like
Yes,
the
they
RC
will.
cola.
Yes, they will.
This is terrible. I'll have 3 more, please.
What was the rapper that did his old devil imprint on his shoes? That he got his devil shoes in.
The Little Nas or whatever he was.
Yeah.
He did a lap dance for Satan, and it's like, yeah, this is interesting for a country with a lot of Christians in it. It's like, I'll put a bit of blood in my shoes. I'll do a lap dance for Satan because I'm edgy. I'm from the metal world. We've had satanic bands for at least 35 years. Actually, no, 40 years. And half of them are funny because they don't actually believe it.
So, Sean, once again, demon soda, milk and orange juice, better orange juice and coffee at the same time. That's demon drink.
With an egg.
Mm-hmm.
Because it
and
binds.
some hot oil, chili oil.
Yeah, that sounds enticing.
So what do you see on the future of our political world, Monty?
Do you remember the Hindenburg?
Yes.
Yeah.
Down in a fiery mess.
Yes, the humanity. But instead of a negative thing, it's like, yay for humanity, because the controlling mechanism within. Okay, to answer the question, why the old pick, I put on weight and I don't want to share what I look like now.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that's still me. That's me doing stand-up comedy as well. So there you are. Well, yes. As I said on the last comedy show, I'm a perfect human. I acknowledge my flaws.
Mm-hmm.
I have vanity.
Exactly. And by acknowledging your flaws, you become an enlightened being.
Yeah, with issues. I don't have that many issues. I couldn't fill a magazine rack. So, hey, fantastic. Well, politically, it may take a while, but the old kicking the can down the road thing. I mean, who would think that Biden would have gotten this far with his mentality and the dementia and just the
blue haired checks are keeping the vampire alive. They're all tithing him energy so his clones can stay alive.
Yeah. Well, interesting enough, Mark Zuckerberg did a Joe Rogan, and I
watched that. I watched that.
He actually said that he had a request from the FBI to bury the Hunter Biden laptop story for 7 days before the election.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's electric tampering. I mean, the FBI is not winning any contests in the last month, are they?
Yeah, but did you see Robot Zuck turn on and try to recorrect himself, and then normal Zuck, Zuck?
I've only seen Twitter posts about it. I haven't watched it. I just finished watching the Dave Mustaine one because Joe Rogan show that's a commitment. It's usually a 3-hour show.
I'm surprised Joe Rogan had him on. I'm really surprised he had him on.
Well, I'm surprised Mark agreed to it. So there's a double surprise. It's like Joe had Mark on.
I think Mark's ego forced him to be in a situation to be on that show.
Yeah, I can see that because if Meta, which is they're trying to, is not doing as well as they wanted, why not? And I wonder if Joe reached out or
No, Joe. I think it's the other way around. I think he bullied his way in there, and Joe let him come on.
It's like, well, we need to get some good marketing, good PR. We need to show that you're not a robot. Okay. And so, going on Joe Rogan, which, what's his average viewership for a show? 11 million?
11 million, something like that. Yeah. So it's actually higher than that, but because he's rebroadcast on other sources beyond Spotify.
Freudian sleep, Spotify.
Yeah.
That's my
But, yeah.
other reality. When I always thought it was Spotify, not Spotify.
Oh, that's the joy of flipping between timelines. You know, the Mandela effect. I've noticed, for me, in my reality, in my timeline, I think I've been on the graduation timeline for a while, or all the time, because I don't get many Mandela effects. And then I talk to people where apparently everything's changing. A friend of mine, Metallica fan, did not even know that they played Russia in '92 with AC/DC and did that free concert to that million people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Wow.
like, where did this come from? Like, so my comment on underneath was, "Welcome to my timeline. We have the best concerts."
Exactly, we have the best concerts.
Yeah. So my one, see, it's also with the Mandela effect. Is it just memory? Because we're humans. And the memory is just like crap. I always thought there was 5 village people in the band. Apparently there's 6.
No, there's always been 6.
No, see this, and also, dear listener, this is where you can start having arguments.
Sure. I know, but I'm saying, sorry, let me rephrase that. I've always remembered them as 6.
Yes. So from your perspective, and so I mean, it's not a major thing. So now I don't know if that's a memory thing or the army guy wasn't allowed out of the States, and so when they came to Australia, there was just 5, so on and so forth.
He might have been in rehab.
Yeah, and it really doesn't matter. It's like, oh, there's 6 members of like, oh, how earth-shattering change in reality. It's not like, you know, Nelson Mandela didn't die in '92. That's a shift.
A big one.
Yeah. And also, you know, with all the whole fake news but the premise basically of talking about Mandela effects is no one's wrong.
Unless they're a zealot.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and then everyone else is wrong.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, you don't have to having an argument about arguing over timelines is like, really? Well, this happened to me, so you're wrong. How the how does that make sense? You're on a different timeline. Oh, that reminds me. I know you've mentioned back in the day, the dream time. Is that the right word? The way that our consciousness is going to slowly bleed into the dream time, where people are having deja vus and everything else like that. Would there be collapsing of timelines? Say, I'm just going to be slightly selfish. I wake up tomorrow and Cliff Burton and John Lennon and Dimebag Darrell are still alive.
So technically, yes, but you would be multi-located in many realities without them competing to each other. Would they all be on one singular timeline? No, but you would have access to all the timelines that they're on.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay, yeah. Well, that's a better way of saying it. Instead of just having that 3D linear or stuff will come into this timeline. Right. Because we're a multi-dimensional, everything type thing, you'll be able to go to different timelines and experience them, which is a completely different thing. Because people just, no, there's one timeline and it's a straight line. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I've stopped asking Andrew about timelines because after I filled the 8th whiteboard full of stuff, I've gone, I'm stopping here. Because trying to understand it is like, when you throw spaghetti at a wall, just multiply that by 8.
See, when I throw spaghetti at a wall, it's to find out if the spaghetti's done cooking or not. My grandfather taught me that. Throw it on the refrigerator. If it sticks to the refrigerator, it's done.
Maybe put a pan just in case on the floor.
No. You'll know right away. You can catch it.
Well, that could be a lot of food wasted. It's like, oh no, it's not, and now it's on the floor, so I have to start again.
It's one strand of spaghetti. Anyways, it got to be such a common thing because my grandfather taught all of us kids that's how you cook spaghetti. So we're all throwing spaghetti on the refrigerator to piss off my mom.
Yeah. See, once again, I think, the Galactic Historian cooking show would be awesome. No, I know you don't want to open a restaurant, but you can have a virtual restaurant and teach. Like, was it the comedy show? I learned so much about eggs. And it's like, well, this is fascinating, but it will save my life. You know, I usually spew information where this won't save your life, but in 1983, Metallica had their gear stolen, and that created Fade to Black. No. The Galactic Historian comes up. So, all right. So you want to cook an egg, and then 15 minutes later. And so that's only 3 options. I have 17 more.
I'm curious if anybody looked up Korean tornado eggs from that show. If there's anybody in that chat room, oh yeah, somebody did. Yes. Can you imagine when you're seeing that, if you're an egg master, how that's done?
Yeah. So I'm just throwing seeds. You know, Galactic Historian cooking show, just half hour once a week. We're very easy to do. Depends if you want to, you know, you build your own kitchen or use your own kitchen, or even just talking about it. You know, Andrew's call-in show for cooking. So I've got an avocado, right?
What are we going to call it? What's for dinner with Andrew and Monty?
Yeah. You hungry?
You hungry?
Yeah.
If not, you will be by the end of the show.
Yes. Yeah. When I jokingly say to people when I buy them things like food or drink, it's like, yes, I'm keeping you alive.
There you go.
It's a bit grandiose, but it's still true.
What does the audience thinks about us doing a cooking show? Let's get the audience get some feedback here.
Mm-hmm. There's 46 people, so yeah, that's a good. Yeah. Oh yes, good idea. Of course, it's a good idea.
Somebody wants moussaka. I just made that the other day.
Oh, we could do a whole 3 months of desserts.
Desserts.
No,
I can't do baklava.
I'm an eater. See, that will work as well. Andrew's a cooker, and I'm an eater. So, ladies, if you want to get down with the Mont, please be a cooker. It will work out in the end.
All right, we'll think about it. Scotch eggs. I love Scotch eggs too. Oh man.
Yeah, just like French toast, and just you start basic stuff like obviously it won't be a half-hour show on how to make cordial, but you know what I mean. It's just little things like you said, just when you're just frying an egg, you lift the pan off so it doesn't stick into, just little things, stuff that should be taught in school. Have you noticed that education, like if we had the chance to change education, accounting and cooking would be prevalent, because you're not taught how to live in school, do you? It's from parents and 6 years of 2-minute noodles once you leave. Well, maybe that was me, but you know what I mean. Like the basics of like in mathematics, accounting, household budget, paying bills, trying to in psychology, talking to flatmates to pay their share of the fucking bill.
All right, just 1 second here.
Oh, you got to have a spice weasel. Always have a spice weasel.
All right, so Monty, we're going to call it an end of the show. Robert's phone is dead over there, and he's going to, because he's not at his normal production spot. So, Monty, give a way for people to get a hold of you.
Wafer Thin Entertainment on Rumble and everywhere. There you go. On Facebook and Twitter and so on and so forth. You can try and hear me live at 2 a.m. New York time on Wednesdays doing Revolution Radio Studio A, Planet Collingwood. If you don't want to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, you can go to the Rumble and just it usually goes up 24 hours later. And this week's show was really good. I'm getting some good feedback. And so we just all over the shop and made a lot of jokes. And I do the comedy show with Andrew next week.
That's correct. All right, everybody, you know who I am. We are offering a special right now on sessions for those of you who want to come and talk to me privately. Go to the website and fill out a application out to get a show. Not a show. I'm going to have a session with me. You can also contact MPA at galactichistorian.com. That's my PA, Michelle, and she can also set you up with a session. All right, Robert, take us away.
I didn't have the breakout room set up. Hold on 1 second there. Great show tonight. Great callers.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We went hammered through a lot of people. We did what, 8 callers today? 9 callers?
Yep. And great topics.
Yeah, we know it's a hot mic. Don't
All
worry.
righty.
I won't say something dumb like,
Don't say something
Trump
dumb.
Trump is the savior of the universe. No.
Yes, the God Emperor shall reign again. No, it's not June.
All right, we can close the show. Thanks, everyone.
Each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail. Improvise. Mysterious. It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.
Hello, let's create, let's co-create, and let's change this world with love. No matter if you're from Alpha Centauri or Earth, we all began with the same birthing process. We live in a limited point of view. Living the mystical life daily is about striving for the unlimited point of view. Each day, each human being gets an infinite amount of choices. Living the mystical life daily is about facing obstacles and challenges. The level of awareness that you are working at means you have a responsibility to be equal with it. How does one truly let go of expectation? You can make the moment that you wake up to the moment you go to sleep sacred. The keys to success: choice, 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 and choice.